Okay, folks, welcome and thank you guys for joining me. All right, we're just clearing up a couple of questions that the participants have, but we're loading in now. Into the reload, that is. So the spectator mode is already set up. We're gonna get into the first match of this HOLMGANG in a couple of seconds here as soon as everybody's loaded in. Yeah, I don't know. I had a little bit of an issue here setting up the scenario. I made one small mistake, but that shouldn't deter us. Here we go, folks. Welcome to this prestigious HOLMGANG matchup. As we are underway now. I gotta start ending these turns, of course. And Carlot already making some interesting comments about his luck this game. Poor guy, poor guy. But you can't help it. That's just future. And this is weird. I'm having some interesting visual bug here. I guess I'll just keep my king around in order to make the best of it. That's something that's never happened before in spectator mode. But sure, we'll just roll with it. I don't think that this area will be all that crucial for the game anyways. And look on over here. We have a very interesting situation as Maclunkey already with the pop down at Medina. Looks pretty, I mean, you'd want to have a better pop, but at least it's not completely useless, I'd say. At least in terms of res, right? And his spawn overall, it's okay. He doesn't have that great, I wouldn't say. But again, it could be terrible. We had some issues with the setup for this scenario, but overall, it's still a viable HOLMGANG. So I'm looking forward to how this is going to play out. Carlot, interestingly, starting off with a road here since his anarchy apparently wasn't that favorable to him. We've all been there. You hate to see it. But well, he's got to make the best of it now. Let me, in these first couple of turns, still try and set up all my settings. Check if everything's fine overall. Mainly in terms of tech setup. So I'll be focusing on different things for a while here. Excuse that. But I'll be right there with the in-depth analysis in just a second. So do not fear. Of course, we had Maclunkey challenging Carlot here for a future duel. I'm not aware that there's particularly bad blood between these guys, and on the contrary, Carlot said that he never had any issue with Maclunkey, but maybe Mac just wants to prove that he's the superior of these two future players. Wants to show up this upstart Carlot, still a rather new player in this community. And yeah, it looks as though all my setup is properly done, so I'm excited to now focus my attention fully onto this game. Well, we've seen so far the pop for Maclunkey. Well, it doesn't grow all that well, but he's getting some decent early irrigation out and should start growing one per turn pretty early here. Whereas on the other side, we have Carlot, who's now chopped his Explorer. He still got those two chances at popping here, so he might even out the score with Mac. But of course, me as the spectator only having one city makes a double pop pretty impossible for most, in most scenarios. First HUT didn't give Carlot what he was looking for, but he's still got that other chance there, of course. So might still get lucky in that regard. my king luckily in the middle of the map. That's probably what's caused the visual bug here in the first place. But you know, that just happens. So we'll have to roll with that. Hope these guys will be careful in not fucking up my my game here. All right, then we see the third irrigation completed for the Arabs, of course, with the automatic two-turn anarchy. He's gonna be just fine there. He's also got a real nice canal opportunity. I'm not sure he's gonna plant that close to cap, but if he wants to make me happy, that's the spot to plant definitely, and he knows it too. Real nice canal spot. Nobody disordering on size 3, which is rather surprising, I would say. But you know, I'm just gonna announce this game starting in the Steam group here, so give me just a second. And it looks like Carlot has ran out of chances for early pops, unfortunately for him. Alright, just announcing that game starting in Steam. As I said, I want to make sure everybody's got the chance to spectate this spectacle alongside us here. And here we are. People hype for the home gang already. I like to see that. Hello there, Rapid in chat. Of course, 10-minute delay, sadly. And people coming out in full force to support these contestants. I love to see it. The home gang emote also being put to its technical limits. I love to see that spam. And look at this. I also love to see that. Very intelligent play, of course, on an archipelago map to go for early boats, especially when you spawn coastal like this. Anyways, he might have wanted to put the explorer on that boat, or the scout, but he overshot it. I don't think so, though. He probably was aware of what he was doing there. Didn't move it last turn. Maybe he ran out of turn timer, but I'm surprised why he would have ended turn if that was the case. But well, now he's able to move out, and we'll see what he can find. In terms of res, I haven't really touched on that yet. This is gonna be interesting, right? We've got max over here plus iron, and there we got the same thing going on, right? Oh no, never mind. We've actually got rails here plus oil, meaning no max, but instead the rails, if he's able to hook that at some point. And then at my spawn, well, we have rails as well, plus rubber, but of course that didn't end up happening. So we'll see about that. Nobody ended up spawning there, which actually this was intended to be the second spawn point, but instead Mac spawned over here. It's not that terrible though, and he decided to play with it anyway, so I'm happy for that. I'm a bit confused. I can't see that galleon right now for the Arabs. There we go. All right, he's sending it out now. So he made it early, but only after 2 turns is now starting to explore the world. Maybe wanted to make sure to get a couple of units in there, but he's looking around now, and he'll see what he can get with that. All right. Carlot on the other side, he's going for a slower build, we see. He's half the population size of the Arabs over there. He, of course, also didn't have the luck of popping that settler, so makes sense that he'd be expanding a bit more, or having to invest a little bit more in expansion, and I just can't land that spy on him. At least I got one on the Arab, so we can see what he's got going early on here. Yes, we're about to head into turn 14. Should have tried once more in the meantime to set that spy up, but you know, everything's not gonna go great at the first time. And as Max still finishing up exploration on the corners of his continent, it seems. He's also starting to explore some of the surrounding areas. Maybe I can move on over here to indicate to him that I am in fact on this island. Yeah, I won't tell him though, because that might tell him some information that he's not supposed to have. I'm just, yeah, just to let him know, because I already informed them that my king is on a random spot on this map. I want them ideally both to be aware of where it is, so they don't accidentally end up killing it or something. That's the idea for now, basically. And all right, Max starting to travel the world here, sends his boat around the area. Again, I'll fortify my king there so he sees what's going on in case he moves up. There he goes. Just letting him know that that was my king there. And yeah, that just tends to happen sometimes, right? I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll just say that where he saw me. A bit of awkward spot, but you know, if he wants me to leave or to move, of course, I'll do that as well, gladly. And he's now also getting a couple of workers out that Carlot has been having for a longer time. Well, he only made one additional one, actually. His long anarchy really showing its effects here. As turn 16, look at this. Arabs already gonna get their third draft out, whereas Carlot still, right now just has his first settler out actually. So that's just unfortunate, of course, the RNG involved in map and popping really showing here. But of course, that is what these guys wanted. I adjusted, or well, I generated this stuff just like they wished, and they wanted the maximum possible RNG for the reader's possible future experience, I imagine, and that's why they got exactly that. Gotta be happy with what they get here. Just letting the people know that there's 10 minutes delay for this one, so we yeah, so we don't have that much spoiling, that much well, cheating going on. I'm not really suspecting these guys of trying to cheat anyways, that's why the delay is comparatively low, but just in case, yeah, just to cover our bases a little bit in terms of inadvertent spoilers or anything, other people trying to spoil them or anything, stream viewers. I'm just trying to get a reasonably competitive experience here without taking it all too seriously, because after all, this is still a 1v1 for honor above everything else. So we don't, right? This is not so much about, this is not about money or anything, right? That's just what I'm getting at here. Look at this one over here. We've got the third city about to be planted here for the Arabs. Also quite close to his rest already. So he's loving what he's got. And look at this. If I'm interpreting this correctly, our friend Mac is looking to get that canal plant that I asked for. That would of course be my dream scenario here. Let's see if he actually ends up going through with it, or if he potentially moves once more, though that would be incredibly weird, because he had that road last time and could have just went there. So no, I expect him to fully just plant on over here, unless he maybe goes for a far plant like this one. We'll see what he ends up doing there, though. And there we go. I love this plant from him. Perfect canal through the middle of his island. Probably not all too effective in general, but well, actually, if he wants to sail east for some reason, he can get that ship out of cap and get on over there way quicker. So maybe that's an advantage in that regard. We now meet each other again here. Mac and I are, let's see, spots that king for the second time. And again, if he wants me to move off of that, I'll of course do that. Maybe I'll just move it and move on to this BG so I don't block him in case he wanted to go over there. Overall, yeah, just want to correct for this mistake as much as I can. And over here we have Barbs spawning for the first time. Might be, well, might be giving our players some trouble here in the near-ish future if they, of course, can't guard all of their area yet with the comparatively low amount of drafts that we've got going on early here. And Mac has already scouted a pretty large portion of this map. I'd say he's scouted about a fourth of this map already. This bottom right quadrant is pretty much all within his vision now, right? Because he's pretty much circumvented this entire island. He scouted his entire island. So he sees he's got complete vision of 2 islands on this map already, I'd say. That's pretty reasonable. Reasonable speed of expansion early on here. I'll now move back on this mountain to get better vision, since nobody's around here to be blocked anyways. And yeah, as both of these guys have barbs on their island now, we'll see if someone ends up potentially getting screwed over by that. That would of course always be funny, although less so for the players themselves, I'd imagine. Another round of drafts now coming out of Mecca. He hasn't drafted in a while, so I'm a bit surprised there. It's a third one for him, as we can see. Let me try for... Oh, was that a turn skip? I don't think it was, no. Actually, I don't think so. I'll try to get my spy out on Constantinople once more. Finally succeeding. So we can see 2 drafts, 2 explodes there, interestingly. So he's... Oh yeah, we can see there they are. He's now also spotted those barbs there. And 2 explodes are always nice, even on Pangaea, or even on Archipelago, if you're able to get them out on other islands. If you can afford it, that second explode is typically of pretty high value, especially in games where it's harder to locate the enemy because there's only one on the map. And that's exactly one of those games right here. So I don't dislike the choice from Carlot necessarily, if he's able to get them onto other islands relatively soon there, ideally. There come these barbs. We see that's well, he might be able to save those workers, but he's spotted both of these barbs now, and he's got to figure something out in order to stay alive here. I figure he might lose one of them at the minimum, although no, he might be able to escape through the north. This one down here is a bit iffy, but he'll get that reinforcement in time. So no, he's finding a proper solution here. Gotta commend him for that. Gonna get that Tau on over there in time, and he's probably gonna be just fine. Carlot on the other side, and also now aware of those barbs coming in, so nobody really gonna lose out there. Oops, looks like I haven't had a turn yet. So let's just fix that to keep this one going at reasonable pace. And the barbs are closing in here, so yeah, he's gonna move off with these workers, I guess. Making more and more out of Cap, interesting. I'd maybe have gone for another draft here just to clear out these barbs camps, since these barb camps rather, since he knows that there's 2 of them. But either way, he'll be fine there. He'll make sure to move these units, well, to move these workers to safety. I'm pretty confident. And he's also scouting around north still, interestingly, potentially choosing to leave his scout behind up there, it seems. Get some nice intel of that land too. And same thing over here in the east, of course. Or what am I saying in the east? Over here for Carlot, he's also got his explodes around. So give me a sec here. Here I am, back at it. Seafaring should have cap on coast. I couldn't agree more with you there, Rabbit. Aye. And yeah, people now commenting on my king being out here at random. That's of course not intended, but you know what you're gonna do about that. You know, sometimes things tend to go wrong with this kind of stuff. This was a very spontaneous Holmgang here. I made these maps ages ago, so I didn't. Yeah, I made these maps when I did the IC versus Soupy Holmgang, so I wasn't quite remembering. Like I couldn't quite remember what I had set up yet and what I was missing still. So that's why this is a little bit scuffed in some regards. Well, probably in the only regard that my king is in here, and Mac got a totally random spawn location that I didn't, that I couldn't anticipate. But apart from that, it's still a pretty usual one, right? They wanted random maps, so that's what they got. It seems Carlot's now gonna retreat his king to his capital, maybe feeling that around this time it's reasonable to expect an enemy to locate you soon-ish. Now I'm not quite sure where Maclunkey's galleon is at, but since we're not seeing it, I imagine it's in this area right here. Oh no, never mind. It's up north. I'm just blind. He's still scouting around this rest island north. We see there's some decent rest there, but since he's got oil on his own island and Alu isn't all that important in this in this 2-player or 3-player lobby, it's probably not worth sending a settler all the way up there. I'd assume. Instead, he's gonna find another island on over here, and funnily, not able to stumble upon Carlot just yet, but maybe he'll get there sometime soon because the distance is closing slowly but surely. He's also managed to defend all the workers, colonies, etc. So props for that, I guess. And both the kings still fine for the moment, although not in the safest spot possible. But I guess I'm not one to talk. I'm not one to talk in that regard, lol. Oh man. All right, yeah, still making fun of my king predicament here, but you know, just like you're saying, Carlot has to deal with a good amount of adversity here. Same thing probably true for me. As you're absolutely right, once one of them gets fed up with their game state, they might just kill my king and get a kick out of that. We'll see. Overall, we're still in that spot where Carlot is behind on growth. Of course, we can see the same, or that manifested in score as well. He didn't pop out of either of the 2 huts that he had on his island, but he's got that oil that is the most pivotal resource in future typically, and that is true in 1v1 scenarios as well in general. So I'd say he's still in a fine spot, right? He's got oil, and he's got a couple of coastals out now as well. So he's probably relatively happy considering that start. And there we go. Look at this. Mac giving us a great opportunity to use this emote here that I got recently. One of my favorite ones already. Has yeah, there's some marshmallows being cooked over Mecca. Carlot still clean in that regard, I believe, and Maclunkey able to extinguish that fire too. Gonna help his oil this turn, I believe. So he's now primed and ready to produce some of the heavier stuff here. Same thing though for Carlot, right? He's gonna hook that oil next turn or in 2. So that's also going to be fine for him. And look at this, they finally spot each other. It looks like they've made contact here. I'm not sure if both of them are aware of this yet, but I'd assume at least Mac knows what he stumbled onto here. Now, we can't be 100% certain that this is actually Carlot's island, but at least he knows, well, he's seen a sign of life of his opponent, and considering the fact that he's scouted almost the entire rest of the world already, he probably assumes that Carlot's just going to be on this island here. And yeah, look at this. Oil hooked for both these folks. Carlot next turn. Mac already. So we'll see what they do in terms of in terms of boats. Of course, I can't see submarines, so that'll be an issue. But we gotta check the military advisor here regularly to see what kind of army compositions they have once they get out some boats, so we know how strong they are. And then, of course, via stealing plans, we could figure out submarine positions once it becomes pivotal, although that's not typically the case here, since nuke subs aren't really an option, and those are the most important ones to keep track of as a spectator. There we go. As the turn's over, we still have this line of sight here between the two of them. Now Mac moves out of there, but I'm absolutely positive that Carlot spotted this one, and there we go, moves from one explode range into the other. That's funny, out of moves, I'm pretty sure, so can't readjust for that. So now Carlot's definitely spotted him, although pretty likely to have done that earlier already, of course. Another city for the Arabs. Nice chopping here going on in sync. Wonder what he's getting in Baghdad here that he prepared these chops for. But I respect it. He's being efficient here in his build, I guess. There we go. Carlot ending these turns way early on average, probably just due to him having fewer cities, or well, not even really, but I don't know, just in general it gets done quicker with these turns. Now he might be about to lose his Explo though, if he isn't aware. That's of course kind of questionable why he ended the turn already. Maybe if he hasn't seen that, he's also not seen Maclunkey's galleon yet. But that could also be a mind game, right? He could let his Explorer be killed so that Max thinks he wasn't seen by Carlot yet, although that's highly questionable. Again, I wouldn't personally go for that mind game if I was Carlot, but looks like he just wasn't aware of that barb situation up there. Maybe also just wanted to get rid of the unit support. Who really knows? There goes his Explo though, and Maclunkey's boat drives on now. I'm surprised the way he goes. Right, he could have went closer to the coast and covered more distance there, but he's definitely gonna sail down this coast now, I assume, because that's the only angle that he hasn't seen yet. Maybe he also wants to restock on that boat though, but even in that case he would sail down south because that's just the quickest way back home. So that's what I'm thinking here basically, is he's gonna go south and they're gonna have some meetups soon here. We see finally Carlot also spotting another barbs encampment here. And Maclunkey's king now in a little bit of a safer location here, whereas Carlot's doing the same thing, of course, being spotted now. A reasonable decision to move back home with that king. And again, both guys hooking oil pretty much the same turn, one turn earlier for the Arabs. So still on reasonably comparable pace. I like that play from Carlot. However, Adrianople with the frigate, so able to fend off that early galleon, and even with the ship move from the seafaring trade, he's gonna have 2 more tiles of movement range than his opponent's galleon. So that means he can probably chase this one down if he really felt like it. Surprised he hasn't made a galleon yet though, because I assume exploration would be quite interesting to him, especially since he made 2 explorers in the first place. But you know, that frigate is a good start if you want to get to see more of the world. Oh, yep. All right. People are a little bit confused of the format here. Yeah, geez. No, I'm not playing in a HOLMGANG right now. That'd be a bit difficult in general. If somebody ever challenged me, I'd think about how that would be potentially doable. But no. This is between Carlot and Mac, despite me being a little bit more involved than typically in these types of things. And there we go. It might not be the capital city, but we've got another fire going on here. Are these two finally gonna collide? I'd love to see the first naval battle here, if nothing else. And Of course, yeah, finding res is definitely big here. Oil is a nice start, but ideally you'd like to have more options in most cases. So I commend Mac for the thorough investigation of land that he's conducted. And just overall, right, you'd love to be in this spot. You've got max, you've got iron too, which, I mean, at least it's something. And you've even got a luxury here on top of the two ones that you've got from Cap, so really nothing to complain about. And most important of all, you've got the canal through Mecca and Damascus. So, what else are you really asking for, right? Here we go. Is Mac gonna respond? I don't think he's got vision of that frigate just yet, since I believe he moved that galleon this turn. So if he's fortunate, maybe Carlot ends up missing him, but it looks like Carlot's deliberately going north here in an attempt to spot that galleon, which he probably saw with the Explorer earlier anyways. We'll see if he goes for a direct hit into this, which would be a near 50-50, and there we go. Moves up maybe, moves out of range again. He's looking for a bombard next turn, I assume. We'll see what he goes for. Might just hit him head on though. There he goes, moves in. Looks like it's a... Oh no, he just hits him and wow. This is... Wow. I mean, I guess that sucks for him, right? He invested quite a lot here. Frigate is more expensive than a galleon, and he just loses that 50-50 combat. I don't think that loaded units defensive bombard counts in naval battles, so that was just terrible luck overall. And that veteran galleon out of Medina now, I'm curious what that one carries, but I'm really not sure. I assume maybe a worker, maybe he's going for a airbase play. No, but it looks like could only be Taos really, if anything, because he's got 4 workers on his island and 4 workers is all he's got. So no, apparently no airbase plays just yet, despite that oil being hooked a while ago. Let's see how Carlot adapts. Is he gonna get another frigate out to deal with these boats, or is he looking for different types of boats with that oil that he's got already? For now, he's just hooking res, and I assume he's trying to get those rails. There moves the next galleon, though. Pretty important role that Mac got there now that we see he's got another ship out. Had he lost that first one, then Carlot was probably also gonna destroy his investment of the second one and make that irrelevant. So, decently big early roll here for Mac. Keeps Carlot completely in the dark of his surroundings, doesn't know where his enemy is located. Probably expect him to be north, because that's where he came from. Actually, maybe even northwest, which would be the completely wrong direction. And also doesn't know anything of his surroundings in terms of res that he might be lacking or searching for. So that must have hurt in any regard. Check this one out. He's now also starting to draft mechs, it seems. Those res coming in handy now. Was none of these mechs on that boat. Still, that would be a powerful tool in a landing, but he probably just doesn't feel comfortable putting a big investment onto these boats, because in general, you're not going to win those naval encounters with the Byzantines, who have the faster ships than you, and also cheap harbors, if that matters. And look at this. This might be big for Carlot. He ends up reinforcing in time, but that's only one tower in there so far. He drafts another one of Constantinople as this turn ends, excuse me, and Mac goes for the wise decision not to attack into Caesarea, where I believe a settler was built this turn. Yeah, because that was a size 6 city last turn. Carlot doing a good job with the reinforce here and able to save that city. For now, the settler goes north, I imagine. Gonna plant here. Oh no, that's not coastal either. Well, maybe he's just gonna plant on the spot where he's at right now. Because he's not really getting a nice coastal plant with this lake adjacent. And there goes the first landing. Emptying that galleon, maybe going back north to pick up his scout now. We'll see what he ends up doing there. But Carlot now gonna have to clear out these 2 guys on over here. And maybe some arties would help with that. It's not like he's gonna get any cities taken here with what's going on over here. And I'm pretty sure there's no towers on this galleon either, so I'm really wondering why it's there, what the purpose behind that is. Oh no, actually, we counted workers. There might be towers on that, so I'm just lying to you guys. Only 2 cities with tower in them, so no, pretty likely that there's still a tower 2 in that galleon there. So Carlot better watch out in the south too. Let's see if he keeps Nicaea guarded, or if he ends up shifting all the focus up north to Caesarea. No helis yet to reinforce with for the Arabs though, so if he ends up losing that city, that's not going to be completely dramatic just yet. There he goes. He moves out of Nicaea, and there goes his first bomber. That, of course, would be a huge loss of investment here, as Mac goes for the pillage. Looks like Carlot is just straight hitting into it. Now with the additional tower that he brought over. Oh lord, look at this. Is this towel still left with moves? It doesn't look like it. It must be the one that pillaged the tile. Otherwise, Mac would have probably moved into Caesarea by now. And Mac doesn't end up going for Nicaea. That's a big... Oh lord, and now he moves out with the worker, just barely missing out on vision of that galleon. That's big for Carlot. Had Mac landed here end of this turn, I don't believe... No, Carlot would have had no way at all of reinforcing Nicaea. That would have just been a bomber gone for him. So, huge luck for him there. Mac not going for that play is pretty big. God, these emotes fans, I love them. That's what the viewers are for. Ah, this is great, isn't it? Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Carlot getting away with well, a pretty fortunate turn of events here without any vision, getting surrounded by that second galleon. Now we don't know still if there's anything on that, right? That might just be an empty galleon. Who knows what the Arabs put on there? It's not a settler, it's not a worker. There might be towels, but we just don't know yet, right? Got a second mech meanwhile, and it's just building up more. He's not made any oil units yet, neither boats, no planes, whereas Carlot started that production up nice and early here. Although, well, it's not a terribly large one yet, but still. It's got that plane and definitely helped clearing out enemy stuff as well. In Explorer landing. So, alright, so the point of this galleon is just to get some intel of Carlot's rest situation and what he's got going inside his land, I assume. He's seen the most important stuff, though. He's seen that... No, I don't think he's seen that iron yet, but he's seen that oil down here and the coal up north. So maybe scouting out whether or not Carlot has got any iron is key here to know, yeah, what type of situation you're in, because you don't want to get outbuilt by enemies railing for sure. Therefore, maybe a good choice here to go with the more elaborate scouting, just to get an idea of what you're up against exactly, while still being extremely safe at home. And there we go. We see what he's got going now. He's got a mech inf army going on apparently. Army plays is something I never do in future, so I can't talk much about them. I just know that some players go for them every game. Scarlet's got a few more encounters with barbs to handle. First, looks like he's moved the plane out of the rather vulnerable city of Nicaea. And another point that I want to highlight here for Maclunkey is he came from the east, but he ended up dropping the Explorer west. So now this turn when he starts exploring, Carlot might think that Maclunkey is still decidedly west of him, which of course isn't all that wrong either, because this map is so small that east or west probably doesn't really make any difference here. But it's another nice ruse, another nice mind game that he's got going on here. At this point, he must think that Carlot's or that Max located somewhere west, because he came from the west both times that he visited him. So I want to see what Carlot does once he starts looking for him, whether he just actually decides to look west. And I like this look. He's got a submarine out. We can't, of course, see where it's at. I'd assume he'd made it out of Adrianople or Nicaea. Adrianople is realistic, and there we go. It immediately picks off the enemy explorer. because he's got those towers in all the necessary coastal cities. So that's not a lot of intel that Mac gains. And crucially, again, I don't think he spotted that iron yet, because he came from the north and sailed east last time, and he sailed around west and not all the way around the island yet. So he's probably not aware of Carlot having iron just yet. Carlot gets that explorer extremely quickly, and at least, well, makes good on the one that he lost to Barbs earlier. So he's even on that investment, one might say. Sam's for the Arabs is an interesting play. He's potentially expecting a bomber play from Carlot here, since he's seen that that guy's got iron. And you, of course, don't know if he's got any transports out yet, because no naval sentries from Mac. So he might just get airbased at any point, for all he knows. Therefore, maybe a little bit of an early Sam, but I have to commend it. And with 4 cities, you definitely have one that you can afford to make that stuff out of. Wonder what he's going to put on that galleon once it reaches home. He's also spotted this island now, which is a great airbase for either of these two guys to make plays onto their opponent from. But it would be actually hilarious if they both ended up putting air bases onto this island. That would look very funny. Maybe one north, one south. Either way, Carlot's not aware of any such island existing just yet, so potentially less likely here, as it seems he's about to lose another worker up north to the Barbs. I don't like the way he's not reinforcing those workers. He just killed another Barb from over here, and he's lost his explorer to Barbs earlier up north. So I really can't, I don't understand why he's not just sending a unit up there to exterminate that Barb camp by now. But, well, guess he wants to keep his tiles closer maybe. And he's got more important stuff to worry about for sure. I'm just pointing out more minor things that I noticed. Look at this. He's got another boat by now, Mac does. This is probably the first galleon that he had out. He probably just upgraded that. Let's check in. No, he just made a new boat here. Interesting. So he's got a transport. But I wonder where he's going with that. Is he just going to plant something over here? Those are nice city spots, but there's no res on over here that he might need, apart from maybe the coal up north, which he spotted earlier. Oh, actually, I'm not sure he has, because it wouldn't have been visible from the east coast, and I'm not sure he went all the way down south as far as this. So maybe he's not aware of coal being there, so that's why I wonder what he's going for here. Maybe he's going for the horses for his GA? Oh no, he's got horses at home. So I wonder what this transport is for. Maybe it's just gonna be an airbase somewhere over here. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. And that's exactly what appears to be going on. Sadly, no coastal city, or excuse me, no canal city able to be planted here. But good enough. There we go. All right, he gets the army with the worker on over here. And that's gonna mean terror for Carlot relatively soon. Let's check in with his army once more. He's got that bomber, he's got that submarine out, but no anti-air just yet, no fighters and no SAMs, no flags even, so this is looking a bit rough here, as the aerial bombard could commence any turn now. Now, fortunately for him, there's no planes yet for the Arabs, despite that airbase setup being prepared here. So Carlot's still got a little bit more time left to spot that out or to build units of his own. And look at this though, 2 bombers finished this turn for Arabia. So starting next turn could be double bombard over the Byzantine skies, who again still have no protection against that here. Nice job on that Barb camp, but I'm afraid he's not going to be able to hook that coal before the bombard commences next turn. If Mac goes for the immediate attack, that is, and doesn't wait. No, he definitely doesn't, because he's already started transferring those bombers on over, so no reason not to immediately start bombing next turn. We'll see if Carlot's gonna have a response for that ready by then. Now, of course, he doesn't know that Mac has oil yet, because he hasn't seen anything outside his own landmass for this game so far, apart from, of course, the reconnaissance that he's been able to do with his submarine, which I'm not privy to the whereabouts of. So honestly, yeah, he might have spotted Max Land or Res by now. Can't be sure of that. Um, if he hasn't, that's gonna be a rude awakening starting next turn, I'm afraid. Transport even back at Arabia just yet. Maybe he's gonna bring more stuff on over. Maybe some land troops to reinforce his bombard with. He of course could go for uh, modern troopers as well, but apparently got none of them so far. We'll see what type of army composition he's gonna go for. Maybe just a bunch of bombers. And this is a funny spot for a barb camp to spawn at. Wow, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. That's two barbs on over there. He's got to draft two mechs to clear it out. Otherwise, he's losing. He's losing colonies to that. Wow, fucking awful barb spawn there for him. And I just can't believe it, right? That's such an that in the middle of all his vision, right? In that one tile that he doesn't have vision of, there come the barbs, the Libyans, the natural enemy of the Arabs, of course. And when's that bombing gonna start? Um, I could do well. I'm starting to think about whether or not I should start doing bomb saves mid-turn in case bombing crashes occur. But we'll see. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, honestly. Gonna end my turns in any case. Maybe I start saving here, yeah. In case that does anything. Who knows? Oh, oh well, there goes the bombing. First tile at Caesarea already destroyed. And I'm curious as to what Carlot's response is going to be. He started to catch up in score and he would have overtaken Mac pretty soon, but of course that comes at a cost, and that cost being production that Maclunkey has invested more into the military side of things. Apparently, this band coming out here at Caesarea. No fighter on that airbase, so he's got no reconnaissance of Carlot's land here, and again, no paratroopers yet. Means he's not getting any. He's not giving himself the chance to land and take out Carlot's stuff. That was not a turret skip. That is just the bombardment of the two luxuries, screwing over Carlot's happiness. Um, very effective tactical bombardment here. Just gives, well, causes unrest in two Byzantine cities. And I expect, yep, more planes to be following. That's a fighter now, at least for the reconnaissance purposes. I very much agree with that build. Anything else? No paratroopers yet, and no further bombers, which is fair enough. And that's another barb spawn. They just squeeze into every little corner of his land that he can find. It looks like he's gonna plant that coal soon. He's got another settler. He's not, but he's found that coal now, so maybe he's gonna get himself some rails soon, because why not, right? You've got the complete naval control in a sense. I mean, Carlot still got oil, so you don't know what he's got going on. He's got two submarines at this point, so we might start doing some work on the naval end of things as well. Look at this. I hadn't checked that, but looks like Carlot spotted that rubber with a submarine of his, and that's why he brings that transport over. So able to settle that rubber relatively soon. Maybe say here would be nice because you get the cow and you could also chop that forest to get that harbor quickly. Oh god, what what the fuck am I saying? Get that harbor quickly, exactly. And oh god damn it. In that case, if he spotted that rubber already with a submarine, because why else would he send that transport over? He might also spot that Arabian galleon soon. And wow, that's an early J for him. Well, it's not early, right? It's turn 46, but basically, I'm surprised he's got that wonder without me noticing. I've not checked that F7 screen, of course, but we can see indeed that's located in Constantinople. Fair enough. Now he's building some suits. I doubt he's going to go through with that. But that's at least one edge he's got over the Arabs who are not in their GA yet. So that's gonna be nice for him. Hasn't unloaded anything. I wonder what that was. Why'd he bring that transport over last turn? Maybe he forgot to put the settler in that he had in Varna. That would be major unfortunate. Then look at this, another fire burning in Damascus here. Put it out. You've got the irrigation and all the fresh water nearby. Put out the flames, I beg you. And also defend your colonies. That would be an unfortunate and unnecessary loss there for the Arabs. Carlot's working on his rubber, presumably. And that galleon from the Arabs still there up north in a very particular spot that I'm not sure what exactly he's looking for there. It's not really a sentry spot, and it doesn't seem like he's got any units on it either. Maybe it'll become clear what that guy's doing up there soon. GA for Carlot now with the luxuries rehooked. He's got to feel a little bit more comfortable. He's still getting bombed, presumably. But he's got some anti-air out now as well. And I think Carlot's in a pretty nice spot at this point. Look at this. He's hooking those rails next turn. He's in GA, and he's established at least naval defense. Or aerial defense. He's got Navy out now as well, so he's getting some information of his opponent, presumably, with his submarines, and he's also starting to find resources to colony. So overall, I like Carlot's spot here, whereas Mac is a little bit is stalling out a little bit here. He's lost his colony. You've got to wonder what he's doing with his turn timers, that he's not able to catch this. But of course, same thing for Carlot, who lost his explorer over there as well. Maybe it's the nerves a little bit for these guys. Who knows? Maybe they're also just busy moving all of their units, because they've got more cities than I have in 3 or 4 futures combined usually, right? So I'm not talking shit or anything. Still the early bombing there, or well, the earlier bombing from Mac was quite effective in that the damage is still there for Carlot, but overall it didn't put him behind really. He's got another bomber on that air base now, and just bombing a bit more isn't gonna cut it. I feel like you've got to reinforce that a little bit with potential invading forces. Now, well, why does it say he's got 2 bombers? Oh, because one of them just got shot down. That's big. He's lost 2 bombers this turn. Carlot's 2 fighters, and that's definitely now the upper hand going over to the Byzantines, and that's gonna manifest in the score lead next turn as well. I'm pretty confident, as he's poised to overtake Arabia. And look at what Carlot's made of this early start. He's done exactly what you guys in chat have been curious about, and that's dealing with the adversity that he was faced with. Yeah, not popping early, getting the oil a turn late maybe, and then having the intelligence disadvantage, maybe the reconnaissance disadvantage. Intelligence sounds a bit rude, but you know what I mean, right? He's now within his GA, probably just straight out producing the Arabs. Gets an airbase set up himself. Wonder what he's going to do with that. Now, he's got the transport over there. He's dropped the settler at the rubber, but more importantly, he's likely to just drop a worker here as well. And or maybe not even on this island. Maybe he's going to go for the full price, for the big bounty, and drop it straight on Arabia and start airbasing stuff on over there. Now, he's got a bunch of cities. He's in GA, so I imagine he's shitting out cows like crazy, and that's gotta be difficult for Mac to deal with. He's not got bombers en masse to just bomb out anything that Carlot's gonna bring, but that said, it looks like Carlot's thought twice about it and rather retreated with that transport. And no, never mind. He's just wanted to get some more vision down south, and he's definitely gonna look for an airbase up here, I imagine. That's what it looks like to me now. He's dangerously close to the vision of the galleon, and that his resource city already is. I'm a little bit disappointed that there was no worker on that in order to chop that forest here and yeah, get the nicer resource city. But still, he's getting himself some rubber, and that's all that counts as far as I'm concerned. He's started to rail already at home. He started railing there, so wonder how Mac's gonna react. He's made another bomber. He's still going for the airbase play, it seems, but might not have realized yet that the tides started to turn, and without an easy way to get GA, this is probably going to be a rough one for him. Let's see if he builds any wonders yet. It doesn't look like it. He's looking at Heraclea over here. Maybe able to land it, but I doubt there's any units on that galleon, as Carlot's still probably playing with the idea of dropping his airbase on Arabia soon. He might not have a work on that boat. We're not quite sure there, but by the way he moves and by the way he's set up the airbase in his own land already, I'd be surprised if there was none on that boat. Is all I'm saying. We'll see. Maybe he's got a specific target location in mind as well. And again, we're not sure where his submarines are at, of which he's got 3 fighters now, so he's definitely winning that aerial warfare here against the Arabs, who've not yet bombed again, I assume. Not lost any planes at least. And well, that being said, he apparently still in the western side of Carlot's land. The damage is being done, so it's not like Max completely ceased the bombing runs. But with those rails starting to come out now, it's gonna be not impossible to effectively destroy Carlot's production here. What's left in the tank here for Mac? What place does he have left over here? Really, his early surprise factor has fizzled out. He's still, of course, holding that airbase here. But what is he going for? What play is he preparing? He's got maybe he's got another army, but I don't think so. I think this army just counts the one that he's got filled. So I wonder what his play is right now. He's not made many more units lately, so maybe he's just making a couple of buildings for now. Though there's no wonders in queue, so I doubt that's what he's going for. Whereas Carlot, he's apparently, yeah, he's got a ton of towels here. He's making towels in Nicaea, Constantinople, I believe. So that's definitely what he's going for. Looks like his fighters are working around the clock to keep the titles safe. Now that bomber at least shot down an enemy fighter here for Max, so things might be starting to look up here. But still, he's not gonna do any meaningful damage with that, unless Carlot shows a naked king for some reason, which it's Carlot, so that might happen. He's kind of known for that. I might have capitalized on that once or twice before. But unlikely at this point, I would say. And still, I'm curious why he hasn't, why he's still got that transport over there. There's no way that that's just an empty transport, because if it just was there for reconnaissance, he could have done the same thing with submarines that he's got 2 of. And if it's empty, then he would have sent it back home to put something in. So there's definitely units on that, presumably a worker and some towels. And Mac isn't aware of this transport's existence so far, I don't believe. He's got a marine now, so apparently that's what he's looking to do here, but no oil boats yet, apart from his own transport, so he hasn't spotted that Byzantine boat just yet. There goes the landing end of turn. He of course could have done that at any point in time and simply ended the turn, but you know, in real future spirit, he waited that timer out to the last second. Pollution starting to come up for Arabs now, so we at least know he's got a factory going there. Probably. Carlot might start landing units on over there as early as next turn. Even a destroyer now, so he really wants to make sure he controls the seas here. Maybe just wants to catch out that galleon that he spotted earlier. And there we go, wow. As Mac moves to clear out that barb camp, he spots Carlot's landed units for the airbase. I wonder what Carlot thinks about this. Maybe he thinks he's been spotted with that airbase. But no, I think Mac really only came on over there because of the barb camp. And it'll be interesting to see how he'll react. Now he's starting to draft a bit more, which is a good first step to deal with Carlot's troops. Now he fortifies them. Mac might be aware that these troops were already there end of last turn. Well, he might think that. He doesn't know it, of course. So Carlot still has the possible surprise factor planting that airbase this turn and starting to pump units on over there, and he's got more than enough of those ready. Only one airbase so far, maybe an airport that I don't see, but able to provide that that airbase with any backup that he might need. And as for Mac, well, he's still got the bombers on his offensive airbase, might be forced to retreat with some of them soon. And here goes Carlot, bring in some units on over. Well, so far he can only do one per turn, it seems, unless he's got airports again. We don't know that, but no, only one tower. So, oh, well, there's a sec. Oh, no, that's just a fighter. What am I saying? And there goes the destroyer. Let's see if he's able to catch that galleon out, potentially. But more importantly, of course, let's see what he's able to do from that airbase. So far, only towers on there. So, could be scarier, definitely. But wow, is Mac just hitting into this? 2 versus 2? Surprised, because didn't he see what was on there? Or did Carlot hit into it? I don't know. I don't think Carlot would have hit from that airbase. Would have had no reason to do so. I don't think so. No, Max just maybe panicking a little bit here. He knows that he's in a very rough spot. And look at this, units starting to come in. A Helion over there. Paratroopers now also starting reinforcing that airbase. And that's gotta feel awful for Mac. That's gotta feel like you're starting to get crushed here. In comes the destroyer. Is he just gonna go straight for the galleon, or did he get burned by the earlier loss with the frigate? No, he avenges the death of his frigate, which fell in the initial battle of this HOLMGANG. And he gets the clean kill there without losing any HP. So now he fully controls the seas. That marine that Damascus is sporting right now is gonna be, well, waiting a bit longer, because he's not gonna have any opportunities to get on over to the Byzantines. And on the contrary, he's very much got to worry about what he's gonna get hit with from that airbase. If I was Carl, I probably would have killed that ghost unit there, because it provides vision to Mac that you ideally would want to extinguish. But instead it moves onto the mountain to get more vision, I assume, himself. And no airdrops yet this turn, it seems, as the turn ends. Yep. And he's got the heli there, he's got one trooper, so as early as next turn he could start getting on Mac. Now, again, the SAM from earlier could come in clutch in case Carlot was reinforcing with any bombers, but that's not the case so far. And as the area war at home for the Byzantines is still going on, we see some more successful combats for the Arabs, but also Carlot still with enough fighters at home. He's got one left at home, one on the airbase. He's made another airbase here, or teleported another, airlifted another unit over onto the offensive, even a flag on there right now. So don't see Mac clearing that out anytime soon, and he's still got his planes on the offensive here. Doesn't look like he feels threatened enough to recall his planes yet from that airbase. Maybe that's a good idea to keep the pressure high on Carlot. Could lose his rubber colony again next turn, which would definitely hurt. Looks like he lost his ghost unit to barbs, funnily enough. And Carlot still controls that mountain near the airbase. Now I wonder what Mac's plan to deal with that airbase really is. Because for now, all he's done is send drafts north and hit into that airbase. So again, I wonder what there's what he's gonna do there in the long run. Let's check his army composition once more. Just bombers for now is yeah, only new thing that he's getting out are bombers. So that's of course a good start, but with the flag and the fighter already being on over there, although that fighter has now disappeared. He might have taken that home. Oh, is the turn timer broken? Did we just skip a bunch of turns? Or was that just one turn ending? These guys would have to let me know. No city disordered though, and I don't see a bunch of units standing in empty cities, and I don't see barb movement. So no, probably no turn skip there. It just looked a little bit weird to me. And I unfortunately wasn't able to keep track of the turn number. So not entirely sure, but seems like both of these guys are content with what happened. First paratroop of Max, so maybe he's still trying to put pressure on the offensive end, and that's gonna be his response to what Carlot's pulling. Carlot has retreated, however, with the fighter that he had on that airbase. So either he's taken that home, which seems to be the case, as he was running low on anti-air there in Constantinople, but maybe he also just got bombed out there by Mac. Also impossible, of course. He's moving in with that Destra now. I guess he just wants to really get a sense of what Mac has in terms of res and what he's got in his cities, so that if there's any empty ones, he can swoop in with the paratrooper that he's brought over and punish immediately. And Naked King would of course also be quite rewarding. Don't think Mac's gonna do him that favor though. At least not as long as there's any fighting spirit in him. This is game 1 of our best of 3 home gun. And after the early lead, Mac has been on the back foot here after a well-timed GA for Carlot, as well as the rails being hooked. The game state has switched around decidedly. And now Carlot is in a real nice spot here. Looks like he's getting bombed though. Otherwise, not sure why that boat would be hurt. I didn't see any ships from the Arabs coming out, so unless there was a submarine, I assume he probably would have just been bombed. And yeah, 4 bombers for Arabia. He might have retreated actually. Or, well, no, I think there only were 2 on that airbase in the first place. But that means he's got 2 at home, so decent chance he got some bombing runs through on Carlot's destroyer. He's still got that 1 Mac up here to, of course, get intel of what's coming on that airbase. I like that, although Carlot might do himself a favor in clearing that one out soon. That would be appreciated. Or well, that would just benefit him, I think. And look at this, he's now really got the score lead here. So Max also not got the out here of just turtling and winning by default. He's really got to get something going here, and he's still not in GA, I don't think. Doesn't build any wonders apparently. And yeah, those Ansar warriors are also nowhere to be seen, so it's looking rough for him, is all I can really say. Carlot even now starting to clear up the pollution, although it looks like his res are still from time to time getting cut here. At this point though, if you're missing the rails every other turn, you're not gonna be all that limited by that. He goes in with the first paratroopers now, might be trying to take out the SAMs, moves down south. I wonder where he's going there. He can't hit Nairan, of course, since... Oh, well, apparently he can. What's going on there? And that could be a free GA for Maclunkey. I wonder what... How did he... Oh, he must have landed a paratrooper here. I thought he walked on over there from the mountain. But no, this... oh, he needs a pause apparently. Wow, loses that combat, Mac does. Unfortunate. Wow, real unfortunate. I'm pausing the game. Oh shit, I should have saved. Can I save in pause? Oh, looks like he just GG's. Fair enough. After losing those 2 combats, that was a decent... well, that was fair enough, I guess. And where do I have... oh god. I'm throwing here. I'm throwing. Give me a second here. Okay. Here we go. After Carlot asking for that pause, Mac just cuts it short, so I respect that. All right. That's a 1-0 lead to miss the Carlot here. Maybe the favorite role here. And Mac, the underdog, couldn't capitalize on that nice start he had in that first game here. So therefore, Carlot gonna be happy with how that one turned out. Okay. Figuring out here whether we go in next immediately or what's going on. Give me a sec.